This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Get out that magnifying glass and start searching for clues. And I mean everywhere, even out in the garden, out in the fields, looking at the flowers. There could be clues anywhere. In fact, you're going to be looking for 13 clues, because that's the name of this game. And it's for 2 to 6 players. It is a deduction game where everyone is trying to solve their own crime. Let me show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. Here I have 13 clues set up for 3 players. Each player is going to have 3 cards in front of them that they will not be able to see. You'll have a person, a place, and a thing, and that is this player's crime that they are trying to solve. This player is trying to solve a different crime, and I'm trying to solve a crime right here in front of us. But you can never see the cards in front of you because that's what you're trying to get. But you can see everybody else's. Now I'm looking down at my player board. Now in front of here are the 3 characters or the 3 things that I cannot see that I'm trying to get. Behind my shield are 2 things that start there at the beginning of the game. Everyone has a card on their left and their right that nobody else can see, but that you can see. And so at the beginning of the game, if we look at the card here, we see that I have a bunch of things crossed off. Now, certain types of cards, colors, actually don't get played with a certain amount of players. So for this instance, we're playing with 3 players, so none of these 3 here are going to get used for a 3-player. And after you've crossed off all the cards you can see, which are the 2 in front of you that no one else can see, and all the other cards outside that everybody else can see, there will always be 13 items that are left unchecked, hence the game 13 clues. Everyone's trying to get down to the 13th clue and figure out their own objective. Now on your turn you have 3 choices. You will take a clue token, which you'll have in front of you. If you don't have any, you'll take 1 from the supply. Then, regardless of the amount of tokens you have, you will spend all of them one at a time doing actions. Now, if you do one of these actions, which is to look at one of these cards, and by the way, there's this many cards for 3 players, this board would be full with 2 players. With 4 players, there would only be from here and over. With 5 and over, there'd just be these 2, and with 6, there's actually none. So depending on the amount of players, we'll tell you how many cards are actually out here. So for one, I can give this to the player who has the least and take any one of these cards and look at it and put it back. If it's tied, these 2 players have 1, I give it to the next player that's clockwise. I might look at one of these secretly, and I see it in front of me. So I look at this, no one else can see it, and I have seen the made, so I'm totally going to cross this one off. I also want to point out that behind your big shield, you have a little shield that you can keep this, your notebook, so that if somebody gets up to go to the bathroom or something, they can't see it. But for this game, I'm just keeping it here because it's a little easier for me to show you. And so when it's this player's turn, they're going to have 2 of these to do both actions. They will take them both, and so these clues are sort of moving around to different players. But let's say everyone's taking another turn, and let's say I have a clue token. I am going to ask, I can also ask any player I want to for an action, any of them. I get to ask them. So let's say I want to ask this player something. I will give a clue to this person, and I will say one of 3 things. How many colors do you see of a certain type? So I might say, how many pink cards do you see? Or I might say, how many red cards do you see? Because you can ask them about colors. You can say, how many males do you see? And those are subcategories. So for each type of person, there's a male and a female. And each of these show you whether they're male and female. Same for locations. There's a home, there's inside and outdoor, depending on what, and all the cards have these on it. Like this one, this card right here, you'll see, has an actual outdoor location on it. This is the harbor, because all these cards have some of these locations on it. So when you look at the harbor, sure, it has the outdoor. And for the weapons, you have close range, or upper close, and range, depending on that. So you can ask about a color, you can ask about a subcategory, which is all the ones I just talked about, or you can talk about a category, like how many locations do you see? Well, why are you asking them some of these things? Well, because when you answer the question that somebody asked you, you're also including the cards that are behind your shield. So if somebody had asked me, how many male characters do you see? Well, you have to add up all the ones that are behind here. In this case, there's 1 of them right here. There's actually 1 here and 1 here. So if someone asked me, how many male characters do you see? And I say 3, that tells them one thing. It tells, if this was the player to ask, Well, they already know how many are here. They know how many are here. And depending on my answer, they might say, okay, either one of them in front of me is a male, or maybe one or two of the characters behind this person's shield is it. And so you're trying to listen to what other people are going through and getting answers on other people's turns as well, because when other people answer questions, it's all relevant to you because you get to see different things that other people don't get to see. And so again, on your turn, you're either spending a clue to look at one of these, or you're spending a clue to ask anyone a question, or you're spending a clue to the person who has the least clues to say what answer it is. You're going to say what three things are in front of you, person, place, or thing. If you're right, you win the game. If you're wrong, unlike most deduction games, you don't end the game. It just goes to the next player. So you may have missed, but you're still alive. First one to successfully say what three cards are in front of them wins the game. Wow, I love deduction games, and I love mystery deduction games, and this one is no different. It's a family style one, it's quick, it's about 30 minutes, but there's definitely a lot of thinking to do. What I love most about this, well, it's you've got this interesting thing where everyone's trying to get their own sort of puzzle finished, and you're looking around, you can see everybody else's cards, but you can't see your own. And as you're asking people questions, you're listening to what they're saying and you're writing some stuff down, you're taking some notes, and then you hear other people answer questions for someone else, and everyone's perspective is different because this lady gave an answer, I see two pinks, that means something different to them, something different to me. Depending on who can see what board, that might be something different. And I like that aspect of it. Now you might be looking at this saying, hey, it looks just like Code 777. Yes, there's a lot of similarities to Code 777. This one aesthetically obviously is way much more pleasing because it's the theme is a lot better, but there is a big difference of having those cards behind everybody's shields. That makes it so different because when people are giving you information and someone tells you, I see two blues, you're like, okay, that either means I have a blue in mine or they have a blue behind theirs. And then you're trying to deduce what's behind theirs so you can go back and ask them questions because once you know theirs, then their answers to you become more powerful and you're trying to decide when to do that versus when to grab a card off the board. There's just so much going on there for such a simple light game. And the cool thing is no matter how many players you're playing with, it's all balanced so you're always finding 13 clues. So it feels like you're playing a more grandiose deduction game that you've started like 3/4 of the way through and you're really at the last exciting, sprint in the last 30 minutes of a bigger game. That's what this feels like. And so I really like this game. Some people, one person actually that we played this with, didn't like the fact that you could guess and stay if you got it wrong because they felt like it gave too much information to the players, everyone else, and the player to the left got to guess after that. I didn't find that a big deal at all. I didn't find it fragile. I thought that was cool for a change that you could actually guess, especially if you're getting down to the wire. You might want to make a stab, but if you don't get it, you're definitely giving a lot of information to other players, which I think is cool because if you're swinging for the home runs and you don't get it, well, other people should benefit quite a bit from it. So I think that's actually good. But if that bothers you, you can easily just say if somebody's guess is wrong, they're out like a normal deduction game. So overall, it's if you're looking for this quick sort of 30-minute-ish deduction game that has a lot of thinking, it's still brain burnery, has a great theme, looks cool, this is one to check out. This is one of my favorite deduction games I've played in a while. It's awesome. And so I highly recommend it. It's coming out in North America soon, maybe not so soon, but it's getting signed by a North American publisher, so it'll be brought over here at some point. And so that's 13 clues, so let's induct it properly with a saxophone serenade.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for backing me on Kickstarter, making this season become a reality. I'd like to especially thank those here that have backed me at the credit level. Now, these video reviews are also available by audio on our podcast. It's the intros and the final thoughts on GameBoyGeek.com. Click podcast.